G'day guys, welcome to the start of the Overland Track. Lara and I are going to be on the track for the next 7 days. We've got beautiful blue skies today. We're just starting in an area called Ronny Creek, and today we're on our way to a place called Waterfall Valley. So this will be our longest multi-day hike together, getting everything organised in terms of food and sleeping and clothing for all of the weather. Has been a bit of a challenge, but a bit of fun at the same time. Looking forward to sharing it with you. We're just up at a little plateau where we look down at Cradle Lake, Dove Lake over here. Now we've got a bit of a climb ahead of us as we head on up to Marion's Lookout. We've just got to Marion's Lookout and it's absolutely blowing its head off. It was a bit of a steep walk up. There's even some chain sections, but the views are amazing. And we're lucky that today, Cradle Mountain's nice and clear. I've just left my big backpack at a junction there and I'm going to see how far I get up the summit of Cradle. It's 4 o'clock, so we had a bit of a late start to today with a few factors, but I really want to at least give this side trip a little bit of a go. I think in my haste I've come the wrong way and I've tried to go more or less straight up and instead of around the peak. I mean, this seems like a natural path. There's probably been a rock slide come down through here, but I've just spotted these snow poles. I think I'm going to cut up through this section here and see what I can see over the top. Okay, I've just seen the track. That's good. put the camera away because I needed both hands to boulder up, and that helped me get up a lot faster. I'm not quite there yet. This is amazing though. I'm so lucky to have such a beautiful day. In a little section here which is giving me a little respite from the wind. So that was like a false peak, and now I'm in this little saddle, and now heading over to this section here and then wind our way up again. Amazing. I just had my GPS signal that I'd made it to my destination. That's what it says. You've arrived at your destination, which was a crudely set up map that I put online, and it's so satisfying. It's this little jingling of a bell, and it just feels so good. I'm so pleased to get up here. I've been to Cradle Mountain a couple of times before, and just with weather, haven't been able to do it. The last half an hour of the climb is all bouldering, and if it's wet, even if it's misty, of course if it's snowing, it would be mad. I'm sure I'm sure people do. And that's where I'm going, down to that valley, Waterfall Valley. It's 5:15, so I'd love to stay up here and have a coffee and relish in the beauty, and it really is the solitude and the beauty of this magnificent place. But I've got to keep moving. So I've got to get back down the hill, and then there's another roughly 5.5 k's to get to our campsite for tonight. Definitely have enough time for a couple of M&Ms anyway. Just found a lock here. What does this say? Gorgeous and lover. Shout out to Gorgeous and Lover. Just so rugged up here. Almost lost my hat. Just gonna get out of this wind for a second. Every way you look today is just so special. It's just clear as far as the eye can see today. Our bags, as expected, are pretty heavy, and mine is 25 kilos. That's with water, and it's day one, so we've got all of our food supplies. But you're required to carry everything here. On a nice day like today, you might be thinking, why have I got all that warm weather gear? Why have I got that 3 to 4 season tent and that big, thick sleeping bag? But things can go wrong pretty fast. So lots of gear in that sense. But we've got food for 2 people as well. Lara does such an amazing job with all the food, but we think we've probably overloaded on snacks. So, on that note, I think I'm doing us a favour here just by getting rid of a few of these M&Ms. I'll just take a couple of minutes to get reorganised and get on the way. We're warned everywhere about the need to cover your backpack up everywhere, because if you leave it hanging around, the currawongs are so intelligent that they'll actually be able to open the zips up and get access to your food. Did you see that? I think I got that on film. It was a tiny little snake. That's exciting. Right on the track. probably about 30-40 centimetres long, and I obviously can't tramp on through the bush to go look for it. It'll have disappeared into the scrub here, but my guess is a little white lip snake. So far, all the way along the track, there's these high visibility snow poles. We've been warned about the extremes of weather up here. We've watched videos of people doing this hike about the same time that we're doing it. At this time, it's been more or less covered in snow, at least for a couple of days. So I'm not going to go in here, of course, but it just looks like a safe, dry place to shelter away from the wind and the weather and the snow. Half an hour to go. Shadow's getting a lot longer now. This valley's amazing. Lots of wombats scatter along these parts. Really hoping we'll get some. Wow, this is awesome. Hoping for some wombats tonight. Not around the tent though. Wombat on the track. How good's that? There's so much wombat scatter around. And it was just alright, just felt like wombat time. This is so
Do you think it's okay, or should we move next to some?
Day 2 of the Overland Track. The rain seems to be coming through in these big sheets every once in a while. So it's cold, but not bitterly so. Today we are walking from Waterfall Valley to Windermere Lake, and there's an option to do a little side trip along the way. It's only an hour out to an area called Lake Will. Our plan is definitely to head out to Lake Will today, but if the rain's coming in sideways and we can't see too much, then we might push on, but we'll make that decision a little bit later on. So lucky to have these great huts set up. So we've obviously camped on one of the platforms last night, but to be able to come inside to a nice dry hut and cook up some breakfast and do your reorganisation and just sort of get everything set for the day, it makes a really big difference. It's just this soft, misty rain at the moment, but it's the type of rain that creeps up on you and quickly gives you a good soaking through.
Ready to go.
Oh, blowing already. Let's go. So pretty.
Cool.
So,
How does it do that?
I'm going to try the stick out. Just found a little currawong cast. So this is where they've regurgitated some of their food that sits in their gullet. You can see some of the seeds, etc. I read yesterday that the currawong call is a bit like the soundtrack of the Overland Track. We're just at the junction here for the only side trip built into today out to a place called Lake Will. It's only a 3 kilometre return, so about an hour they're saying, but the wind's coming in. It's basically a big crosswind just blowing straight towards us and we'd be heading straight into it. So we are going to push on today. It's about 1:30. It's a bit of a shame, but lots of gorgeous scenery. We've got a lake here. Maybe we'll just pretend that's Lake Will. Lara's getting some snacks out. Oh my goodness. M&Ms and snakes. You can see how exposed it is through here. So we're copping all the wind today. Having a lot of fun though. Just sort of ambling along, taking it all in. It's very nice. I'm feeling echidna vibes. We're just a little bit off the track. Saw some black swans out here in the lake. I always find them so hard to get photos of. I feel like as soon as they know that you're around, they're onto you and they start paddling away. But on the way down we also saw this lovely Bennett's wallaby right down by the river. Lake. Time to get the tent set up.
did stay next to
This is a great little resource from the national parks, the Cradle Mountain Lake Sinclair map, which of course covers our track, the Overland Track. I'm getting better at reading maps, but I'm still particularly bad at folding them up. So we head down to a place called Frog Flats tomorrow. So I'd love to see some little frogs, or at least to hear them along the way. It says an often damp, leech-loved forest glade. Well, that should be fun. So we're day 3 on our Overland Track adventure, and today we're making our way from Lake Windermere to Pelion Hut. Today's the longest day, it's 16.8 kilometres. It's a very still morning, there's barely a breath of wind out here, so we woke up to a nice crisp blue sky, which is beautiful. And the clouds have rolled in a little bit, but it's still really peaceful.
Margaret.
Little enchanted foresty in here, or as Lara put it, lychee, both. Feels very snaky. Just come and had a look for some nice sunning spots, hoping to see a curled up tiger. No luck so far. What a picture. That's a postcard. Yeah, it's so cute. I'm gonna get a picture of it. It's the 4th Valley Lookout. How serrated and sharp these are.
World's longest video.
We're just at the top of the final climb for today, and at this stage of the afternoon, it's been a big day today. We're just watching our boots, and I started to arch my head up, and I saw that very characteristic, lovely, banded black with yellow stripes figure moving over some of this longer grass here. It was a little tiger snake, and I sort of stopped in my tracks and said back to Lara, "Babe, tiger," and got my camera. And I haven't got some great footage, but hopefully I've got a little bit anyway. But that was very exciting. We've just arrived at the old Pelion hut, which is a short little side trip off the main Overland Track, just 10 minutes. And apparently near here there's a beautiful cold swimming hole. So after a long day like today, and we've been so lucky with the weather, it sounds pretty inviting. Feeling relatively, I don't even know what I'm feeling anymore. We were just able to rinse the dust off a little bit down in that beautiful creek, and off in the distance here we can see Pelion hut, so it's just over 1 kilometre to go. Seeing Mount Oakley like this, it'll be something that's not part of our overland experience this time around, but certainly tempting to come back and give it another go. We've just woken up at Pelion hut. It's a really nice night camping. Barely a breath of wind, no rain. We're a bit spoiled. This morning we can hear lots of wattle birds calling to each other. There's one now. I knew it would come. Morning, we're on day 4 here of the Overland Track. So plans today is to make our way to Kia Ora hut. So it's about 9 kilometres, about 3 hours, and there's a couple of great side trips along the way. At this stage we're opting for Mount Ossa, which is Tassie's highest peak. Just made it to Pelion Gap. It's about 4 kilometres to get to Kia Ora hut for tonight, but this is the junction where it looks like lots and lots of people are taking off on the various side trips that are available. So Mount Ossa, which is the highest peak in Tassie, or there's also Mount Pelion East up here, which looks really stark and rugged and very inviting, but we're gonna make our way up Mount Ossa today. Have a look at this. I'm used to 2-minute noodles, so what do we got? We've got some avocado, some tuna, and cheese wraps. There's a real bite in the air this afternoon. It feels really quite chilly. So I've got lots of layers to head on up to Mount Ossa. So that's where we're heading. Apparently the track meanders up this way, then you go up through the middle, and these are false peaks, and the actual summit is somewhere over the top there. So in elevation, we've got about 200 meters to go, and we're using all fours at the moment. I think there's going to be a lot more of this. This one. We're just on the roof of Mount Ossa. There's all this cool spongy grass here that Lara's comparing to a golf course. It does feel that way. It looks like it's got a little ways to go up to get to the peak, but I think most of the hard work's over now. Clouds are rolling in. Don't know if we can see you in the cloud. We must have just missed it. We've just arrived at Mount Ossa, the highest point in Tasmania, but it seems that the cloud has beaten us by about 10 minutes. Today's day 5 for us on the Overland Track. We're making our way from Kia Ora hut across to Bert Nichols hut. We're in for about 10 kilometres today, and at this stage we're definitely opting in for a couple of the side trips. So I think it's Dalton Falls and Hartnett Falls. Our coldest morning that we've had thus far on the Overland. Maybe it's because of these relatively nice clear skies, but the sun is shining, so I think we're in for a great day.
Butterfly.
Oh, they were, yeah. This little hut we've just popped into is called Duquesne Hut. Now serves as a bit of an emergency shelter along the way. We're about an hour into our walk today, but it was built in the early 20th century. I think it said 1910 by a fella known for his bowler hat, a guy called Paddy Hartnett. who was a hunter and trapper in the area. Got to that stage of the trip on day 5 it is for us, where we're starting to talk about food cravings. And we've been lucky enough to eat really well. So we've had things like dehydrated butter chicken and another chicken and veggies and rice dish. We've had a dehydrated version of like spaghetti bolognese. For lunches, we've had tuna wraps and avocado and cheese and lots of snacks along the way. So it's not exactly like we're doing it tough, but still. So day 5, I'm starting to crave sizzling bacon and eggs and lamb chops, and what else are we thinking about?
A roast.
A roast.
A burger.
A burger for Lara.
Hot chippies.
Lots of hot chippies. We're going to try a little dessert here, which is done by a mob called Strive Food, which is a Tasmanian-based hiking food company. I got the little bowl. Goldilocks stole the big bowl. We've had some pretty little lunch stops along the way, and we find these helpful. Amazing.
Does have a celery looking.
Day 6 for us on the Overland Track, and we're off to Echo Point today, about 16 kilometres. We've just come out into this big clearing or this plain out of this eucalypt forest. It sort of feels like worth mentioning. It just feels very beautiful. It feels like this is the Overland Track and why people come here. It's beautiful. So here in Tassie, there's 3 different types of snakes, and all of them can be found here on the Overland Track, but the most commonly to be found, and the one that we've seen along the way, tiger snake. So I've only seen the one tiger snake on the track thus far, but here's a little bit of footage of the last time we were in the Cradle Mountain area of when we had some really good sightings of tiger snakes. In Tassie, they've also got the copperhead snake and the little guy here, looking a little bit worse for wear, the white-lipped snake. But even up in these alpine areas, you do find the tiger snakes, and we've had amazing weather. Lots and lots of sunshine. You're going through areas with huge water courses, you've got rivers, you've got creeks, you've got marshy areas, tarns, and that's holding these little guys, little froggies. So frogs and lizards and other snakes and small mammals and marsupials are the favoured foods of all of these different types of snakes.
Hold up.
That's held up great.
That's good. Thank you. Yeah, that's true. You what?
We just managed to spot a small little white-lipped snake and I'm hoping I was able to get some clear footage. It's really hard to focus the camera because their heads are so small. I'm comparing it to the size of my little pinky fingernail here. Sore knees?
Yep. You're gonna have fun with this.
Themselves on the riverbank, and enormous lizards with long tails take fright at their presence and run up creek.
Surely your wife and kids have eaten the spare ones at home.
She's not much.
Yeah, it's coming. Lake St. Clair swim.
Back on my rocker.
Yeah. Final day on the Overland Track. It's day 7 for us and we're just departing from, I think, our favourite campsite here. This is Echo Point with little modest Echo hut up here. So there was only a handful of us here last night, so it gave, for us at least, the trip a little bit of crescendo. It was a nice sort of final spot to enjoy a bit of nature, have a cold swim last night, and then take off on our final hike today. So today we've got roughly 11 kilometres ahead of us. It's our hottest day on the track so far. It's getting up to 26 degrees. It's about 9:30 at the moment, so we're having probably on our average start to the day, and I think we've got about 5 hours or so ahead of us. We just met one of the Overland Rangers, so the ferry came in to drop a couple of people off from Lake St. Clair, where I guess they do it as some type of day hike. It's already inspired Lara and I for perhaps a future adventure. Take the boat from Lake St. Clair up to Narcissus Hut where we were yesterday, and then head on in for a couple of night adventure at Pine Valley. But she seemed to be a really good advocate for the Overland Track itself and Tas National Park, so that was really good to see. body of water is Tassie's deepest lake. It's called Lake Sinclair. But to the indigenous people of the area, it was known as Leowalina, which is a beautiful name. And sleeping water. On the run home now. We made it. So just arrived at the Lake St Clair Visitor Centre. So for us, 7 days, 80 k's plus a few side trips, and very tired, hungry, dirty, but very satisfied. It was an amazing trip.